Hello everyone, welcome to the Age of Listening channel, and as always we're going deep, and when you go deep into the symbols of the RWS you're able to see the story of each card and learn tarot a lot faster. So hopefully you've been with me from 0 to where we're up to now on the Sun card, because I do highly recommend that. If you're wanting just a brief description, then I'm not the channel for you. But if you want to learn more about tarot and you're interested in the spiritual ascending aspects and benefits of tarot, then I'm the channel for you. Please remember to give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this and you stayed. Okay, so this is, we'll be looking at this from the Light Seers, the RWS, the Witch's Tarot and the Everyday Witch. And because Witch's Tarot is generally so close to the Rider-Waite-Smith, poor thing gets hidden by the Rider-Waite-Smith one all the time. But I will kind of take it off, possibly. Okay. So the planet sign is the Sun, and the astrological premise of it rests with any of the fire signs, as is denoted really by all this lovely orange and fiery colours in general. Okay, so when you look at this Sun card, I always kind of look at the numerological associational cards that go with it. Gosh, I've got to learn to say that better. So you could say that 19, number 10 and number 9 cards can be associated with the number 19. So a turn of events can give you this Sun card feeling if you have the discernment of the Hermit card with you, or I tend to do it this way because I just add the 1 when you're bringing things that are from above down below into your life. With the discernment of the Hermit card, you're able to experience the Sun experiences and feelings in your life. That's kind of how I tend to put it. But so to put this in context, because it does help, let's refresh our mind. You had the Star card, where this person is experiencing the presence of Creator God or your guardian angels or your guides, whatever, and the living waters are flowing into your life in a physical and emotional way, receiving that from Creator God, and you've got so much because it's ever flowing. You're able to give it back, because of course this card is about giving and receiving. But once you've received from God, you're able to give it to everybody else. Then, feeling so wonderful, the Fool kind of then sees that sometimes you can go into the Moon card where you've kind of taken on too much and your brain's about to explode, and it can trigger all sorts of demons coming out of your conscious or subconscious mind, and you're in a bit of a trouble, which is why keeping the Hermit card with you to give you that discernment of not only what physically to do but what spiritually you need to do will kind of help you to rest in that Sun card feeling. Now, if you've just come into my channel, what I've just said there may go over your head or it may just confuse you. But that's why I say go from 0 and work your way up with me. Okay, so have I just done that? Yeah, so this, let's look then. So the Fool with the Moon card, before we saw he was greatly tested, but he got through those emotional tests and he was rewarded with this lovely Sun card. And he's going to need this experience of this beautiful sun reprieve, because the next card after this is the Death card. You've got a child that is riding, well, kind of, it's very slowly riding, but it's definitely sitting on this white horse. And the expression is of optimism and glee, leaving behind past experiences and past thought patterns, and embracing the freedom felt because of this. So this card is a little bit like, you know, when you've got rid of, or you've gotten out of a bad situation and you feel like a load has just been lifted off of your shoulders. That's the sun feeling for you. You know, it's that whew, light at the end of the tunnel kind of moment. The child who's just left the Garden of Eden here with the walls, I won't go into that, I'll save you that. It can either be classed as Horus or Christ. Christ means anointed one, who's come to redeem us and show us the way for us to be. So this Horus, or this Christ, is on here showing us how we must be. I'll get into that because it's absolutely amazing and will blow your head away if you stay, if you keep listening to me. But anyway, so returning, the child really is returning to this kind of happy, abandoned feeling of youth, childlike optimism and joyfulness. The child is experiencing joy because he's come out of that dark tunnel and he's made it into the light. And with the sun here, nothing is hidden when you're in the light. Everything becomes clear and transparent. You know, when a person has a bit of a skip in their step, they're experiencing the sun card. Yeah, they've received knowledge and everything's become transparent to them. You know, the sun's come out after darkness. So as much as darkness should give way to light, this card demonstrates what or how we perceive our life, and how we perceive it here is wonderful. I mean, if you can get that, then you've got this card. How we perceive our life is what we will manifest. So Christ, the anointed one, is coming along to us in this card saying, this is how I want you to perceive life. So this card is all about emotions. It's all about a mental state. You know, as we had with here, mental state, as we have here, mental state. These are mental states of mind, and we're being told that. That's why they've put Horus on there. So the flag is orange, and this here is just talking about the wealth and happiness, and also the fire signs here. But this is not material wealth, it's emotional wealth. The nakedness of the child, as we saw with the nudie pic of the star, is talking about that childlike state, nothing to hide. Neither of them even want to hide anything. They're just innocent and free and full of purity. As you know, when we see children frolicking around in the nude, playing with hose pipes and water in the garden, this is how the mental state feels at the time of getting the sun card. The white horse, by now the fool on his journey has realized and understood, you know, with the chariot card there was a black horse and a white horse, or a black sphinx and a white sphinx. Well, here there's no choice anymore. The battle's been won. The charioteer, the fool, has picked the white horse and is happy with the choice, and it even feels a bit kind of yucky to even entertain the black horse now. That's how much he's at one with this beautiful white card of emotional purity. Blue sky is connection to God, life energy. Here, that wonderful light energy is also mirrored with the orange and yellows in the picture as well, because they also mean life and energy. You've got a crown of flowers with a feather coming out of it. You know, this Christ, this Horus, is feeling on top of the world and very pleased with himself, and he wants everyone to see it. And that's how you should feel too. In religion, we're told, even when you're happy, that you shouldn't be. One of the reasons why I left the church was because if I said to any of the people in church, you have to know who you are in Christ Jesus, you have to love yourself. Love myself? No, I'm just a humble child of God, you know, saved by God's almighty grace. I'm just a worm if it wasn't for God. I mean, oh, I know, don't get me started. Anyway, so the fact is here, we're told to wear that, not in pride, but to wear that crown with a feather in our cap, to kind of, to go, it's okay to feel happy. It really is okay to feel that vitality and that kind of, and have that wonderful happy perspective on life. It's okay. And it takes religious people a long time to get rid of that anchor. The sun is associated with the Hebrew letter Resh, which represents the energy flow between the intuitive consciousness and the intellectual understanding. And so that kind of, that's why it kind of reminds me really of the Magician card, that intuitive awareness of what's above and the intellectual understanding that needs to help him to bring it down to earth. So through understanding of our own intuitive insights, this card shows that you are the master of your own universe, and you've got that inner victory. You can feel it, yeah? Everything about this card screams new life, new way of thinking, or another episode of freedom from that judgery. As adults, we can find ourselves constantly in, can't we? And we need to draw this card, or draw on this card, to enable for us to have that kind of step, that spring in our step, walking down the street, you know, and whistling and humming to ourselves. This card can also be, it's definitely a yes card, a strike while the iron is hot, strike while the iron is hot sort of card. So let's look now at upright and reversals very briefly. Wow, we're being really quick. I've been talking, by the way, so fast because I'm really aware my children are going to come in any second, so I'm trying to get it out. Okay, so reversed, you know, by now I always like to look at what's on the top because it often gives me inspiration to remember. So this is, what's at the top is the child, yeah, and the horse and the Garden of Eden walls. So what's that telling us? This is someone who is, or you are being, childlike in your thinking. And we all know when we can be a bit childlike, and we all know when we've got friends who are acting like children, yeah. This is kind of, I mean, I wish the legs were present of the horse here, but it's also let loose, have a bit of fun, you know, canter off into a field. Why don't you? Sort of be that child. You're obviously not kind of, you know, you're probably a bit in your emotions, a little bit in your emotions, and you're letting them rule you, and you're being very childish. You're putting something in the way of the sun. You're putting up a boundary in the way of feeling that sun, because the sun's at the bottom of this card. So, you know, you've got to see the joy in the situation. Something's blocking you from seeing the joy in the situation. So upright, create a knowledge. Yeah, that's at the top. Create a knowledge. Joyfulness, enlightenment, the colours, happiness, vitality of mind and spirit. Looking at the world from a joyful perspective. And also it can mean physical rejuvenation as well, because when we feel happy, our bodies tend to feel happy. When we're childlike and we moan about being ill all the time, our illness becomes that block to our healing, because we're focusing and manifesting what is blocking our lives more than we're focusing on what can give us life and joy. At the end of the day, this card is not something we can perpetually stay in. We can try. I'd definitely go for it, but it's not the sort of card that you can live in, because for some reason us human beings just can't sustain it. We go into worry, we go into all sorts of different places, but this card is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's that, phew, I've come out of my boundary that was keeping me hemmed in, and I am out in the sun. And you've got that wonderful banner here of just emotional wealth and happiness. Okay, so really have a good old look at the other cards here. We can see everyone's dance. It doesn't matter what age you are, and there's different ages on this particular card. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are. Sometimes it's just good to be joyful, to let go of that adult self and to be that child again. And over here, I feel led to actually read this one out. Let's see what the lights here says. Don't often do it, but let's see. So, surrendering to the will of the cosmos, an intentional pause. Isn't that what I said? This is an episode. It's only a season, so make it last, because we know the death card is coming. It's a time of reflection, letting go, embracing the new, realigning with your heart and purpose. New wisdom found, spiritual teaching, sacrifice and alignment. And, oh, I love this, actually. When you have it as a reverse, stagnation, so the earth, yeah, sort of hard ground, self-sabotage from negative thinking, holding on to something, that isn't meant for you, stubbornness, a tendency to be a bit of a martyr, grounded in the earth, not being grounded by the sun. So I love it. I spoke really fast, really sorry about that. Wanted to keep it short and didn't want my kids to interrupt. Have a lovely, lovely day, and I can't wait for the death card because it's a great card. Okay, bye.